Sally Field was never the loud type when it came to love. She was private, cautious, and often shy about her emotions, even when the world adored her. Behind her bright smile and sharp humor lived a woman who loved deeply but feared the kind of heartbreak that fame so often brings. In interviews, she always laughed off personal questions, but her eyes sometimes said more than her words. Her story begins in the early 1960s, when she was just starting out, a young actress on the show Gidget. Hollywood was new to her, and so were the men who filled it with charm, ambition, and danger. Sally was surrounded by people who wanted to be noticed, but she only wanted to be understood. And that's when she met her first secret love, a young actor who would later become one of the biggest names in the industry. That actor was Burt Reynolds. Their connection was instant. He was confident, funny, and bold, everything Sally wasn't sure she could be. At first, she resisted him, not wanting to become just another chapter in his long line of flings. But Burt saw something in her that few others did. He admired her strength, her stubbornness, and the quiet beauty she carried without even trying. Their relationship was complicated, full of passion and distance. Sally once said Burt made her feel seen but never safe. He loved her deeply, but his fame and ego made it hard for her to truly breathe around him. When she finally walked away, it broke them both. Years later, Burt admitted that losing Sally was the greatest regret of his life. And when Sally recently spoke about him, she confessed that a part of her heart never truly let him go. But Burt wasn't the only man who left a mark on her. After that painful chapter, she found herself drawn to someone entirely different, a man who represented comfort, not chaos. His name was Alan Pakula, the director who helped shape her into the dramatic powerhouse she became. He directed her in Norma Rae and Places in the Heart, guiding her not just as an actress but as a woman. Their connection wasn't public, and few even suspected it. But on set, they shared quiet glances, unspoken understanding, and moments of deep emotional exchange that went far beyond the script. Sally later revealed that Alan helped her find her voice, not just as an actress but as a person who had been afraid to speak up. Losing him in 1998 hit her harder than anyone knew. She described him as the calm she always searched for. Then came a man who surprised everyone, Robin Williams. They starred together in Mrs. Doubtfire, and their chemistry was undeniable. Sally had always been drawn to humor, and Robin's heart was as big as his talent. Off camera, he made her laugh like no one else could. But there was also sadness behind his smile, something Sally could feel even when he tried to hide it. She once admitted that during filming, she started to fall for the real Robin, the gentle, empathetic soul who cared about everyone more than himself. But Robin was married, and Sally was too respectful to cross that line. Still, she confessed that there was a part of her that always wondered what could have been if timing had been kinder. Another name on her secret list was James Garner. They worked together on Murphy's Romance, and the warmth between them was impossible to ignore. Garner was older, grounded, and kind, the opposite of the flashy Hollywood men she'd known. Sally admired his stability and his quiet humor. During filming, she realized that what she felt for him wasn't just admiration, it was something deeper. She later said that James made her feel safe in a way few others ever did. But Garner, too, was taken, and Sally never wanted to be the reason someone else's home fell apart. Still, she carried that soft affection for him for years. When James passed away, she said it felt like losing a piece of her youth. Her fifth secret crush was someone unexpected, Tom Hanks. Sally and Tom worked together in Punchline, and she quickly realized there was something extraordinary about him. He was younger than her, but his intelligence and warmth fascinated her. Sally once joked that she felt both maternal and romantic toward him, a confusing mix that made her laugh in hindsight. She admitted that Tom was the kind of man who reminded her what genuine kindness looked like in a city that often forgot it. Watching him rise to become America's favorite actor filled her with pride, and a quiet ache of what could never be. Then there was Paul Newman, a name that made every woman in Hollywood pause. Sally met Paul during her early career and described him as the living definition of grace. They never worked closely together, but they crossed paths often. Sally admired his loyalty to his wife, Joanne Woodward, but privately confessed that she couldn't help feeling a spark whenever he spoke to her. In her later confession, she admitted that Paul was one of those rare men who made her believe in goodness again, someone who reminded her that love could exist without taking something from you. That belief stayed with her even when she doubted everything else. The seventh name she revealed was perhaps the most emotional, her co-star from Forrest Gump, Tom Hanks again, but this time, she spoke about their connection in a different way. Sally said that while the world saw them as mother and son on screen, she often felt a strange, profound love for him off-screen, one that blurred the line between friendship and affection. It wasn't romantic in the traditional sense, but it was love nonetheless. She said Tom made her believe in the kind of emotional honesty she had spent her life chasing. Their bond became one of the most meaningful relationships of her career. By the time Sally reached her late 70s, she had lived 1,000 emotional lives, some public, some hidden in silence. When she finally spoke about these 7 men, it wasn't gossip. It was gratitude. She said that every one of them taught her something different about love, fear, and the cost of vulnerability. Her confession wasn't shocking because of the names. It was shocking because of her honesty. After decades of keeping her heart locked away, she finally opened it, not for attention, but for peace. Sally Field's confession wasn't a list of regrets, it was a map of her emotional journey. Each man represented a chapter of her life, a mirror reflecting her growth from a young actress searching for validation to a mature woman who finally learned to love herself. She said that in her early years, love always felt like something she had to earn. Hollywood didn't make it easy for women to be both ambitious and tender. If she loved too much, she was called weak. If she didn't love enough, she was called cold. Sally walked that line her whole life, trying to balance her career with her heart. When she spoke about Burt Reynolds, her voice softened. She admitted that despite all the chaos, Burt was the man she loved most fiercely. They were two people who couldn't exist together peacefully, yet couldn't forget each other either. Sally revealed that Burt's death reopened wounds she thought had healed. She said she still sometimes dreams about him, not as the movie star everyone knew, but as the man who once held her hand and whispered that he wished he'd met her before fame ruined them both. Her words about Robin Williams were gentler. She remembered his laughter, his sadness, and the way he cared for people who were struggling. She said she often felt like he needed someone to truly see him, not the comedian, but the man behind the jokes. And though they never shared a romantic relationship, she confessed that she loved him in her own quiet way, wishing he had known how much he meant to her. James Garner remained her image of peace. Sally said that if her life had been different, she could have happily spent it with someone like him, calm, kind, and real. She admired his loyalty to his wife but couldn't deny the fondness she carried for him all those years. It wasn't a scandal, it was a silent appreciation for the kind of love she never found. Paul Newman, to her, represented the impossible standard, the kind of man who didn't just look good on the outside but radiated decency from within. She said that Paul's marriage to Joanne Woodward taught her something valuable, that true love doesn't compete with ambition, it supports it. Sally often said she envied the quiet steadiness they shared. Her connection with Alan Pakula was perhaps the most personal. He helped her see that strength didn't mean hiding pain. Alan encouraged her to show her emotions, to stop apologizing for feeling too much. His death left her shaken. She said that losing him felt like losing her emotional compass. Even now, she often revisits the films they made together, not out of nostalgia, but as a way to stay close to the part of her that he awakened. When Sally finally reflected on all these loves, confessed or hidden, she realized that what she had been searching for all along wasn't someone to complete her. It was someone to understand her. Fame brought her admiration, but it also built walls around her. The people who loved Sally Field the actress rarely saw Sally the woman. Now, at 78, she has no reason to hide anymore. Her confession came from a place of freedom, not regret. She said that these men, each in their own way, helped her see herself more clearly. Love wasn't always about forever, sometimes, it was just about being seen, even for a moment. Her words have moved millions because they're honest, not polished. In a world where celebrity love stories are sold like fairy tales, Sally's truth stands out for its raw humanity. She didn't name these 7 men to shock anyone. She named them to honor the journey of a heart that dared to love despite all the risks. Today, Sally Field remains one of Hollywood's most respected figures, not just for her talent, but for her courage to be real.